Whoop, whoop. It's day 7. We have made day 7. We've got a whole week in the bag. I meant to do this truth bomb a little bit earlier in the day, so I had a bit better light. I'm over here in my cave, but so it's a little bit darker. But hey, we will crack on. Now, listen, the truth bomb I really wanted to share with you today is about sabotage. Okay, sabotage. Interesting. I see a lot of people in the group as they're working through their exercises talking about ways in which they sabotage themselves, right? And here is the truth. Here's the big truth in terms of your behavior toward yourself. You are not sabotaging yourself at all. There is no such thing as sabotage within the context of your behaviors, or indeed the behaviors of anyone who isn't necessarily specifically suffering from a serious mental health condition, right? So here's what I mean by that. Sabotage is when you actually look it up, and certainly from a military perspective, I'm ex-military myself, and we was taught very early on that sabotage is the deliberate and willful destruction of a strategic or opportunity target. The deliberate and willful destruction of a strategic or opportunity target. Think about that. There's the first few words there are the most important. Deliberate and willful. Deliberate and willful. It means that there's an intention to fuck things up, right? It means there's an intention to break things. Now, let me ask you this. As you're going about setting your goals and setting your direction for your life and saying, here's how I want life to be, do you kind of sit there also go, okay, so here's how I want it to be, and therefore what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this spanner in the works, and I'm going to put this blockage in the way, and I'm going to make sure that I can't achieve it in that way? Absolutely not. I'm absolutely certain of it, right? And again, it's really only, there are a kind of a very tiny minority of people who generally tend to fall into kind of mental health realms that are doing that. Right? So just understand that it's not sabotage. You are not engaged in any form of sabotage whatsoever. You're engaged in a habit, right? It's never sabotage, it's habit. And it's only habit because of feelings. Think about that, right? I've already told you this. If you feel a certain way, that is going to dictate the quality of the input into your brain in particularly areas like the basal ganglia, right? The basal ganglia is the home of habit. And that home of habit is going to determine what's more important to it, what's less important, based upon the feelings and emotions that you have whilst you are engaging in the thing, right? So you want to start kind of doing a certain thing or stop doing a certain thing. Your brain, your basal ganglia says, what's the emotion that's coming in alongside of this data? And it says, the emotion is negative. It really seems like this person hates the stuff that they're doing, really doesn't want to do it, and is kind of pissed off at being made, frustrated, anxious, whatever, at being made to do it. And the basal ganglia says, oh, we don't want that then. We don't want to habituate that. It's clearly not an emotion that is going to serve us. What we'll do then is let's rerun the old habit. And the brain will just go off and find the old habit and start rerunning that again, right? Versus this, you start to do something and you remain curious and you remain open and you're enjoying it and you're hopeful and you're optimistic and all the rest of it, right? Everything that is kind of within the realms of what most people would call a good or positive emotion. And your basal ganglia says, hold on, what's going on now? It says, okay, I've got this data is happening. Kind of the person is sitting here doing this particular exercise or starting that particular diet or beginning this new activity, and they seem optimistic and hopeful and positive and really like they're kind of enjoying the process, and they're actually enjoying it more than the old process they used to be involved in. Your basal ganglia goes, oh, hold on, let's upgrade this then. Let's see if we can run this a few more times. And so every time you think you've been sabotaging yourself, you are not only are you mistaken, right? Not only are you mistaken because if you're not engaged in the process of deliberately and willfully destroying the targets, right? Not only are you not fully telling the truth to yourself, but you're bringing a negative feeling, a negative emotion alongside it. Because every time you use language like sabotage and self-sabotage, you start to feel anxious, you start to feel upset, you start to feel despair, you start to feel like there's something wrong with you, that you're less than, that you're not enough, and all of those kind of things, right? So what are you doing? You're bringing more and more of the negative aspects into that picture. So please stop using the term term self-sabotage, right? Stop using the term that there's any sabotage going on whatsoever in terms of the things that you are doing to create this transformation in your life. And instead, look to them as habits. And once you start to look to them as habits, what is a habit really, right? You already know the answer to this. A habit is a process, right? So if I nutshell everything that we're talking about here, if you truly want to transform, what you need to do is create a process that actually feels good, feels positive, and feels of more value than the previous process. Simple, right? Simple, right? So look, it works this way. If you enjoy something, you repeat it. If you repeat it, you get good at it. If you get good at it, you're moving toward what I term as mastery, right? You're moving toward mastery. And once you reach mastery, you put a very small amount of something in and you get an exponential result out, right? Think about that. Pleasure, right? You enjoy it, you repeat it. Because you repeat it, you get more skillful. Because you get more skillful, you're moving along that pathway toward mastery or excellence, as we've been talking about. And as you start to excel and as you start to experience yourself gaining more and more mastery of this stuff, what happens? You put a small amount of energy in, and for every piece of energy you put in, something, it doubles and triples and quadruples in impact. Versus, I fucking hate this. I don't want to do it. This is annoying, but I'm gonna bully myself and willpower my way through it. And you make yourself do it. Because you make yourself do it, even if you repeat it for a short period of time, like you might be able to make yourself do it for 30, 60, 90 days. But at the end of that, you just go, I can't be asked with this anymore, and you drop it, right? Or you're making yourself do it, but you end up doing it sporadically. It's kind of, you're a bit hit and miss. You kind of, some days you feel like it, some days you don't. Because you're sporadic, because you're not consistent with it, you don't gain the same level of skill. Because you don't gain the same level of skill, you don't move toward excellence and mastery. And because you don't move toward excellence and mastery, it always feels like you put a lot in and you get a very, very small amount back in return. Okay, and because you're getting a small amount back in return, you start to build up even more negative relationships with that thing that you're doing. Right? This is a fucking waste of time. I hate this. Like, why am I working so hard to get so little back, and so on and so forth. Right? Does that make sense? So the kind of the most important quality in guaranteeing that you're actually going to kind of move toward your transformation, and that transformation is going to be exponential rather than merely incremental, right? So excellence is about the increment. It's about saying, can I do a little bit more? Can I do a little bit more? Can I be a little bit more? Whatever it happens to be, right? But it's incremental. But the interesting thing about excellence is that whilst your excellence may be incremental, it tends to lead to exponential results. The flip side of that is that if you're not feeling positive and you're not kind of engaging in something that you're really, really enjoying and that you're kind of remaining open and curious about, then actually you can put a shit ton of effort into things and get very little back. So let's drop the storyline of sabotage and self-sabotage and all of the judgments and the constraints and the restrictions and the kind of the real kind of negative connotation of like, why the fuck am I still doing this and what's wrong with me and all the rest of it that comes along whenever we say that we're self-sabotaging. Critical self-judgment kicks in. And let's ditch that and start saying, what is the process I'm engaged in and how can I enjoy this more? Remember, you enjoy it more, you repeat it. You repeat it, you gain skill. You gain skill, you move into excellence and mastery. Excellence and mastery, exponential results. Okay, so that's the main truth bomb I wanted to hit you up with today, because I've seen quite a lot of talk about self-sabotage coming up. You are amazing. Honestly, I'm really, really enjoying this program. I'm really enjoying, like, I really hoped that we'd get some really good interaction and that people would open up and put their full truth down. But, kind of, I've been blown away by the quality of the answers, by the level of commitment. It's been really, really amazing. It's so powerful to watch. So thank you. Thank you for kind of giving me the kind of experience that I really, really want. And what I really, really wanted from this program when I first conceived it, right? It's really, really living up to my expectations, and I am really enjoying it. Seems that you guys are too. And remember, when it's challenging, even when it's frustrating and all the rest of it, keep coming back to the simple idea that you are engaged in a process, that it's better to be curious than it is to be kind of, if you want to call it that, negative, right? Kind of, you don't have to have the experiences that you're having. You don't have to tell yourself that this thing is frustrating or it's shitty or I don't like it or any of those kind of things. You could just be curious and go, you know what, start answering that question. I suddenly found myself getting angry or pissed off or stressed or frustrated or anxious or whatever it happens to be. I wonder why that happened, right? Play with it, have fun with it, enjoy it. It's exactly what I'm telling myself. Again, I'm going through all these exercises at the same time as you, and I'm hitting my frustrations and all of those kind of things. That's it. That's it from me today. I don't want to ramble on too much longer. This is your Sunday, and it's your officially your kind of day off, right? So I'll leave you to it. But again, if you've got any comments or feedback, or you just kind of want to engage me, remember, every day I put these together for you. I love to kind of hear some of your thoughts and feelings and stuff that comes up for you as a result of my mad ramblings. I'm in a process of building out tomorrow's and the day after's kind of missions. So I'm going to get back to that, and I'll let you get back to your day. Take care. Much love. Mwah.